5 years ago, I was cast in Posh in the downstairs theatre, and that's how it began, really. And then did it again in the West End 2 years later, and I was fresh out of drama school, really. It was my first job, so it's the first, technically, like, the first kind of professional theatre I'd ever worked at. So that's where my relationship started. I was so happy. It was my first job, so I didn't know anything different. But just happy and fun. And Posh, sure, was about 10 guys getting pissed every night. So you couldn't help but have fun on that stage. And we all got on, everyone got on. It was just fun. It was a fun place to be. It was a fun place to be. It was an exciting place to be, because we knew we were doing something that other people were finding exciting. So it was buzzy, which is any theatre at its best, but the Royal Court at its best is buzzing. You know, that bar downstairs with the hustle and bustle and the buzz of a first night or whatever night. That's really what I remember. It's constantly fresh. It's always having to feed off the world around it and find new writers or actors and plays and theatre. So I think by its very existence of being a place for new writing, it's got to have its finger on the pulse, but it can't but help keep up with the current environment, and that's why people keep coming, because it's got its finger on the pulse, to use a cliche phrase. Posh is a perfect example, because it was on when the election happened, the 2010 election. We were performing the night of the election, and watched those votes come in. So I think Posh is the perfect example. That's why it's endured, the Royal Court has, because it has to, because that's its remit, really, isn't it? It's got to keep new, and therefore, by doing new writing, you'll always be fresh. You can't date, because otherwise you're behind. The show I saw here, that it might be a bit of a cliche, and everyone might say it, but it was Jerusalem. I had a ticket to it. They was doing a free. There was a government scheme, free tickets for students under 25s, I think it was, and I had a ticket, and I didn't come because I was an idiot. And so on the last week, it's last week here, I queued up on my own. I think it was the first piece of theatre, or maybe the last piece of theatre I've ever seen on my own. And I came and just queued downstairs, got a ticket, stood in the side bits, and then got a sneaky seat at the first interval, or maybe even at the beginning. And it was incredible. It was an incredible experience to be in that theatre, but also to see it here. That's a silly thing to say, but to see it in its original form, because it went to the West End, and went Broadway, and it came back West End. But to see it in that kind of in its first place, that is that production will go down in history. Already has, as a legendary show and an amazing performance. So I vividly remember that. I was thinking on the way here, what is that next great play? Where's it coming from?
Could I ask you please to finish this sentence? If the Royal Court didn't exist, I wouldn't
have a reason to come to Sloane Square. You know what I mean? I was walking down there earlier. It's horrific, isn't it? I wouldn't have seen, or if you want a more serious one, I don't know. I wouldn't have seen Mark Rylance give what is a seminal performance that will go down in history. Because you hear, you work with older actors and go, I remember Olivier, blah, blah, and I'll be one of those. But instead of Olivier, it'll be Rylance, and it'll be Jerusalem, because that will stand the test of time.